All right, what's up, my brothers? In this video, we're going to be talking about why smart men do not marry. And to add a little bit of context, we're going to have fun with this one and use a clip from Andrew Tate, who recently published a little bit of a rant in his car about marriage. Let's have a listen, and I'll add some more feedback to it.
I don't want to state the obvious here or anything, but I see so many men on the internet talking about how the divorce was the worst thing they went through, how much money they lost in the divorce. I see all these people saying, well, I had to sell the house because of the divorce. What the fuck are you men doing? Are you such fucking simp jiggers that you're getting married? Marriage is long done. It's long done. Women don't listen. They've slept with too many men. You can't trust them with half your stuff. Marriage is over. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the fact there's no one worth marrying. That's the bottom line. Anyone who understands the real dating market, not these Christian simps, these old boomers, these conservative losers. Oh, well, actually, really important. Yeah, you go out there and find a baddie and marry her. Idiot. Wake up. How are you walking into the jaws of this crocodile? Am I the only one out here who's just like, well, you deserve it because you're a fucking retard? Oh, yeah, the wife, yeah, I got a divorce. It's going to cost me a fortune. Then why did you marry her, you stupid prick? You dumb idiot. Well, for the kids. Have kids anyway. You can have kids without marrying her. You can fuck her without marrying her. You can take her for ice cream without marrying her. What the fuck are you getting married for? Am I the only one who thinks this is ridiculous? Marriage was a very simple contract. We get an obedient virgin. They get a man who pays for all their stuff. Now they've broken the contract. They want a man who pays for all their stuff. It's more expensive than ever. They don't want a white picket fence and a little house. No. They want Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and yachts. And on top of it, they're not a virgin and they don't listen. You broke the deal, ladies. In fact, feminism broke the deal. It was a really simple deal. We're going to have a family. We're going to raise children. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to cook my meals. I don't want to listen to no man. I don't listen to no man. Cool. Well, then guess what? I don't want to get married. The famous billionaire who you're chasing, me, doesn't want to marry you. You broke the deal, feminists. And now we just walk around as billionaires with harems. I've just got a harem. Well, duh. Who else they gonna fuck you? Some pussy jigger. Will you marry me? These men are retarded. You men must be retarded. No, I met a good one. She's different. Cool. She's different. I'm sure when she goes to divorce court, she'll be asking for her love back, not a whole pile of money. Clowns, bruv. Couldn't happen to me. I got enough stress. I got enough problems in my life. I got enough shit out to get me. The last thing I'm going to do is walk into the jaws of that shark like a dumbass. Like I'm 15 years old holding a love letter and a rose. I really care about her.
Let's hit the road and have a little conversation about marriage, shall we? I mean, guys, I wrote the Unplugged Alpha back in 2019, and I included the chapter at that time titled Smart Men Don't Marry. Now, Andrew made reference to something very interesting towards the end of that video where he was talking about when women go to divorce court, they don't ask the judge to enforce his love on her. They ask the judge to enforce the money back on her. See, it's a very interesting point, because if marriage wasn't about money, if it wasn't about the exchange of resources, then when you get divorced, if you were to leave a woman, let's say, for example, a woman would take the man to court and say, Your Honor, I would like to have you enforce his love upon me. It was the deal. But that's not the case. Women only ever take men to family court for custody of the kids and for money. That's the point that he was making. Now, Andrew is what I would classify as the kind of avatar that I wrote about in my latest book, The Top Shelf Man. The subtitle is How the Top 5% of Men Get Everything They Want Out of Life. I'll leave links for all of that below in the description. But essentially, it's only guys that have ascended, that have done the work on themselves, that really start to see the code in the matrix this way. I was never like that kind of guy that wanted to like run out and, oh, let's all go get married and let's do this thing. It seems like a good idea. It never seemed like a good idea to me. I never noticed a lot of married couples that were like living the Disney version of it, of like being in love. I never really saw it. You know, what I saw was a lot of fighting, a lot of disparagement, a lot of contempt for one another in many cases. I never really understood it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I did it in my early 30s, and I also got divorced a few years after. I was the one that initiated it because I just didn't see it as something that would work long term. It just doesn't work long term in today's world. And the point that he makes is, we used to get an agreeable virgin for life, and we'd raise a family, and I as the man would pay for everything, and she would, do the womanly things like make your house your home and bring you children and raise them and stuff like that. Beyond that, you go back a few hundred years and you came from Europe or from Asia, for example, you got an agreeable virgin that was also bringing a dowry to the table. Dowry, if you don't know what that is, some land, some acreage, maybe some gold, some value of something. That's something the family would throw your way that you would then, acquire, because marriage is really about the acquisition of in-laws. It's not about love. It's never really been about love. It's always been about the acquisition of in-laws. It's only in today's world where you see the notion of like engagement rings and wedding showers and all these reception parties and all this sort of stuff that are really sold to you. And it's all a big fat lie, for being honest. There's it very, very rarely ends in a place of bliss, if I can put it that way. There was a study that I quoted in my first book, The Unplugged Alpha. Aaron and Acevedo were the two that were conducting the research, and they were basically asking people with an average of about 8 years together, 8.5 years together, because they were trying to establish if they were in love or not. And less than 13% of those that were together for 8.5 years still expressed being in love, and less than 3% expressed being in a place of bliss, which is really what marriage is supposed to be like. That's what we're sold, bliss, right? It's supposed to be blissful. But as you can see by the data there, that rarely plays out. It just doesn't. So why would you go and put half of your shit on the line for something that works out less than half the time? Even those that stay together, the vast majority of them, they're not in love and they're not in a state of bliss. I've never really understood it. I've never really understood why guys do it over and over again. I know why it happens. It's because women go, hey, I got a great idea. Let's get married. And the guy goes, yeah, and then they start pressuring the guy. And they start doing something like shit or get off the pot. And that's like the worst reason to get married, guys. You ever get a shit or get off the pot type of conversation? Just get off the pot and walk away. It's just don't get forced into anything that you don't want to do. And marriage is one of those things that I see a lot of guys, they get their arms twisted because they're with a woman, they've been with her for a while, and people start pressuring her and they start pressuring you. And then it turns into stuff like, well, we've been together for this long or that long, and, when are you going to make an honest woman out of me, and blah, 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 blah. And the guys are just like, most guys I know anyway, they're just like, But at some point they cave. And I've even seen guys, like good friends of mine, they'll go get married again, second time, third time, sort of stuff like that. And they know what they're getting into. They know my shit. We're friends. They've read my books. We've talked about this sort of stuff. They know. And at some point later on down the road, after, all the excitement's sort of like blown over and, she's gotten a little bit older, maybe she's had a kid of his or something like that, they start, messaging me and we start talking about shit, and they'll start saying things like, Rich, you got to do a video on why it's better to stay single and this whole married thing and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, I know, I've been saying this for a while, but I'll say this. It's like, at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do anyway, right? You can say whatever you want. You can offer some guidance and some sage advice as to why not to do it. But people are going to march into the slaughterhouse of marriage, usually because they love a woman and they want to make her happy, and she asks for something and then they give it to them. One of the concepts I wrote about in The Top Shelf Man is a lot of times women will ask you to do things for them to make them happy. Or they'll ask you to stop doing things that make them sad or that hurt them, for example. And quite often the very things they want you to do or want you to stop doing are the very things that are actually bad for her and the relationship. Marinate on that for a little bit. Andrew's right. He's absolutely right. You can love a woman, you can have children with a woman, you can take a woman out for ice cream. You don't have to marry her. You can do all of those things and you don't have to marry her. And if she pressures you guys, it's only the weak that cave. If a woman really truly does have genuine burning desire for you, it won't matter to her. It just won't. I was having lunch once with my family lawyer and we were talking about his practice. He practiced family law for a good part of his week. And, he's telling me about his relationship and, how's that going, and the prior one to that one that also fell apart. And I said to him, I go, dude, would you ever get married again? Because he's divorced, he's got a couple of kids. He's like, absolutely not. He's like, you know, there's a lot of guys that will think that they can protect themselves with a prenup, or they'll structure some kind of like way of living with a cohabitation with a prenup or some kind of a bare trust agreement. And it's like, you can avoid all of that stuff and all the complications that come with it and the fighting afterwards. You know, the fighting of whether or not this was a legit prenup, you know, the conversations about drafting the prenup and marking up the terms of the prenup, by just not living in a way that looks like marriage to the government. And if a woman's gonna leave you because you're not giving her marriage, then let her go. Do you think she's the only woman that will love you? Are you that incapable of seeing that the world is a large and a grand place? And there are more than just her out there? That's what I never understood. I've never met somebody that's told me things just improved after we got married. Girlfriends are always better than wives. As soon as you turn a girlfriend into a wife, things will change for you. And they generally don't improve. I have seen very rare instances where people get married and they call it a sweet spot. It's a good place for them. And there's a chapter in The Top Shelf Man, my most recent book, that deals with all the details of that, because I was surveying my audience and I was collecting all the data, and this is what it boiled down to. She was a virgin, they married young, she was religious, she had a very good relationship with her father, she deferred to him, in other words, she wanted him to lead, and he was a leader. Those are the key ingredients that make them work out. And even then, in the vast majority of cases, with a lot of those guys that I surveyed that I talked to after the fact, the vast majority of them said, even given all of that, I still would not remarry today if anything would ever happen. If I were to lose my wife, or I would become widowed, or I had to do it all over again, just about everybody that I talked to said, I just wouldn't do it again. It just doesn't make sense in today's world. Remember, guys, there was a time in history where you got an agreeable virgin with a dowry. Today, you get a disagreeable, promiscuous woman that doesn't bring a dowry, and if you get divorced, she takes half your shit and will probably alienate you from the children. Back in the days, if you got divorced, she either went back to her father's care or worked in a brothel, and you generally held on to the children and whatever came with the dowry. And that's just the way things were. But the whole contract, and that's the part that Andrew missed in his little rant there, the whole thing has been flipped on its head. You know, for somebody that doesn't read books, I've heard Andrew Tate say, I don't read books. For somebody that doesn't read books, it sounds an awful like he's read the chapter on why smart men don't marry. I'm going to give you that chapter absolutely for free right now. I'm going to pin it below in the description. And if you like it, grab the book. There's lots of other relevant stuff like my community and a few other things. You want to book me for coaching. If you're one of those guys that wants to get married, one of my most interesting phone calls always seems to be the ones where, help me vet this woman for marriage, or I'm seeing 2 or 3 women, help me pick the best one because I'm religious and I want to do things that way. I can help you with that if you want. If you really want to march in the slaughterhouse, I'll at least be able to shine a light on all the sharp objects for you. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. You let me know what you think. What's your take on marriage? Leave a comment below. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.